make sure you are confident with more than just your elevator pitch. I know that so many college students out there, you guys are coached and do projects in class around what your elevator pitch is, and that's super helpful. But let your confidence extend past that. Most interviews are going to be 30 minutes to 1 hour. And so this is why you need to know what your strengths are, how this all plays together, and how communication is absolutely key.
Hello, hello, hello out there. Thank you to everyone who is joining us today as we discuss how to stand out to hiring managers. And as people are all signing in and joining us, I would love for you guys to drop in the chat box there where you're from, what schools you're attending. Let us know so we can just kind of get a good idea about, who's out there and who's checking us out today and joining the conversation. So please drop that in the chat box. My name is Corey Andrew Powell, and I'm the host of Motivational Mondays. That is, of course, the podcast produced by the NSLS. And I'm joined today by Allie Randall. She's the recruitment specialist for the NSLS. And together we will be hosting today's webinar. So I'm going to hand it over to Allie right now so she can give a little bit of a breakdown of the agenda for today, and then we will begin. Allie?
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. Hello, everyone. Thank you guys for being here today. As I was preparing for today, one of the things I wanted to look at was, hey, interviews, right? What are the key things that we can be doing? I have a background in hiring for a Fortune 100 company, and Corey has such a robust professional background that I think between the two of us, we're going to be able to give you guys some really awesome ways to stand out in your next internship interview. Like I said, as I was preparing myself for today, I was going back to one question, Corey, and it was, did I get nervous during interviews? Yeah, I did, on both sides of the table, right? Most people out there do get nervous before interviewing. And those that say they don't, they might be lying a little bit. I think we all get at least a little bit nervous. Now, in today's job market, it's really competitive, right? But I think if we can be intentional around a few key things, we're definitely going to be able to stand out to hiring managers. So let's start with the first thing, our why. Right now, some of you may have heard this term before. Others may be going, what's a why? Well, your why is a clear statement of purpose that describes why you do the work that you do, why you live the lifestyle that you do. As a hiring manager, I want to know your intentions, your motivations, and your values. And having alignment in these areas is really important for both the company and you. Corey, I'm curious, how did you arrive at your why in your professional journey?
Well, I think for me, it begins with examining what your passions are. So I identified really early on that I love to write, I love media, I love content creation. And so any career job that I pursue is going to be aligned with the thing I want to do for a living. So you have to really kind of identify that. And I've learned from Motivational Mondays conversations that many people have to go out there before they figure that out and try new things and kind of eliminate what they don't want to do in life. And that way you can much more easily define your why. But before we even get more into that, I wanted to say, before we talk about anything further, Allie, there is one key point to begin with, though, for job interviewing I want to bring up. So before you get to any of the philosophical stuff about who you are, there is a logistical thing that is important, which is be on time to your job interview. Your job interview punctuality is really important, and be on time. And I really tell you quickly that, something happens when you don't give yourself enough time to get to a job interview. You get flustered. So they already read the lack of confidence in that situation, whoever's the hiring manager. So be very mindful of that. Don't trust Alexa or Siri to get you there 5 minutes beforehand, because you should map out where you're going beforehand as well and know the direction. Siri once told me to turn left and I was on the Golden Gate Bridge. True story. So don't listen to her, right? So just be careful about your punctuality, be on time for your job interviews. And that is probably the first really important lesson, I think, of interviewing. What do you think, Allie?
Oh, I definitely agree. Being prepared to showcase the values that you bring into a role, you have to be in a good state of mind to be able to do that. So being on time, being calm, cool, and collected as you walk into that space is really important. One of the other things that I think is also really crucial is making sure that the opportunities you're seeking are aligned with your values and your motivations,
Mm.
right? Dressing for the role and the expectation of the industry, your body language, posture, resting face, handshake, all of these things are key to being prepared. So doing your research, right? Who are you interviewing with? The person themselves. What's the company? What are their values? How do all of these things align into how you fit into it?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
very true. And I think also, when you have this notion of like being, going to a job interview and you don't really know much about the company, that's not a good thing either. You can do some research beforehand to know exactly where you're going and what you're doing. And I think it's really important to make sure that you are aligned in that regard with the job that you're actually going after. And that's why it's important as well to move into the areas of communication, right? Um, how you communicate with people is really, really important. But etiquette is really important in job interviews as well. And it's important in the interview process to be gracious and to make sure that the hiring manager knows that you appreciate their time and you're being judged on that and you're being judged on how you respond in the interview. So limit your fidgeting, again, punctuality, arriving on time, don't put your feet on chairs, very basic stuff when it comes to the etiquette aspect of job interviewing.
Definitely. So, one of the other things that I think is really important as you're figuring out what value you bring to the table is confidence, right? Preparation gives you confidence. And I'm curious, Corey, with all of the different types of work that you do, right, going into Motivational Mondays, all the different industries you've worked in, how has confidence played a role in your success or in your nerves and those things?
Oh my gosh, both, right? Nerves and success. I mean, it's a balance of both. But you're right, though. The preparedness and confidence go hand in hand. For me, when I interview different people, it will be a disaster if I have not put the time in. Again, it goes into the research to research the guest before they get before me, and it's something that it's interesting. They appreciate that, and I would imagine, a job interview is the same way. If you get in front of a hiring manager and they ask you questions and you're ill prepared to answer them. Or they say very often, so what do you want to ask me? And you have no questions prepared. Those things are strikes against you in a job interview. So
Mhm.
the preparation that Ali speaks of is aligned with being confident in your job interviewing process because you will know your stuff and you'll be unflappable. So I
Mhm.
think that's really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. It's very key. And just a quick word to the wise, right? As a hiring manager, make sure you are confident with more than just your elevator pitch. I know that so many college students out there, you guys are coached and do projects in class around what your elevator pitch is, and that's super helpful. But let your confidence extend past that. Most interviews are going to be 30 minutes to 1 hour. And so this is why you need to know what your strengths are, how this all plays together, and how communication is absolutely key. With communication, there's kind of two main buckets here, right? When we talk about communication, we have verbal, right, which is what we're doing right now. We are speaking into existence what our intent is. Then we also have nonverbal. So, as we've talked about, body language, resting face, putting our feet on chairs or not during an interview, saying, making sure that our tone, making sure that the way that we are presenting ourselves is in alignment with who we are and what that industry and company need in that role,
Mhm.
right? Um, so being able to showcase verbal and nonverbal communication is really, really important. Um, I was, Corey, as I'm thinking about this and looking at how we live in such a virtual world now, right? What we're doing is virtual. How does body language play into the things that you do on a daily basis and how you communicate?
It's so funny you say that because when we began the Motivational Mondays podcast, it was an audio podcast. So it was great, right? No one really, we had the cameras on, but it doesn't matter really what you're doing. So I could be doing all kinds of stuff with my hands and it doesn't matter, right? When you're engaging with someone physically, your body language is so important because you can mistakenly give them the impression that you're not interested just because of, perhaps you're slouched or you're looking like this and, and it's just accidentally, inadvertently making them feel you're not interested. So, part of that is being aware of your body language, especially in a job interview. Sit up
Mhm.
straight in a chair, no slouching, look interested, look alert, which is tied to, of course, preparedness, giving yourself enough ample time for sleep so you can be alert. So there's a really, really big connection with body language. And it's really important because you could send the wrong message
Yeah.
inadvertently.
Definitely. Well, and speaking of sending messages, right? Another part of good communication is a thank you note. Right. Part of the
Mhm.
interview process is making sure that you stand out to the hiring managers, that you leave a lasting positive impression.
Yeah.
So with thank you notes, I always loved getting a nice handwritten thank you note. But if you don't have stationery on hand, which I think many of us don't these days, a
Mhm.
thank you email is perfect.
Yeah.
Any sort of thank you, whether it's an email or a handwritten note, is going to be memorable and timeless.
Yeah.
um, and I think that, when when you're seeking opportunities, aligning what you want to do personally, professionally, how all this flows together, that's why etiquette is such a big part, don't you say, Corey?
Yeah, it's really important. And I love that you mentioned the handwritten note because um, you're right. That's a lost art today that just because of society, we really don't handwrite anything anymore. Right. And so, I just read an article that young people are losing the ability to write in cursive because they just don't even really do it anymore. So basically, you have to just figure out a way to stand out, and a handwritten note, I would recommend, is a way to totally blow someone's mind, right? Because they don't really, no one gets them anymore. So think about a handwritten note. Emails are nice, but maybe email and pop in a handwritten note at the same time. And, Ali, as far as you mentioned alignment with a job, making sure that you are aligned with the job's core values. That's why research of a company is also very, very important. And you have to just make sure that you want to work there before you go in for the interview, right? Preliminary work, do that work first.
Yeah, definitely. I think that as you're analyzing different opportunities, and seeking, again, that alignment personally, professionally, financially, what values do you hold, right? Let's go back to that why statement. It's what you believe in, it's the foundation of your life. So, does a company actually align with how you live and breathe, right? Are there opportunities for you to grow and for you to authentically stand up and stand out? Um,
Yeah.
Corey, I know that, again, you've had so many really cool professional roles over the years, but I can imagine that, especially within entertainment and within so many different things, keeping our values close at heart can present a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
kind
No,
of,
that's very
things have you had
true.
there? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very true, Ali. The thing is, we are programmed in society to go after the money, right? That's what we need money. That's what we're doing while we are all looking for jobs. But there is a point where you have to ask, am I going after a job or am I going after a career? And there are two different things because one, you're looking at with longevity, right? So if it's a career opportunity, which I have an example that I was faced with a few years ago where, I was offered a job working for Philip Morris, who does all the major cigarette advertising. And, nothing against anyone who smokes out there, but that's not aligned with my values. I don't like cigarettes. I don't really care for to smell them and, XYZ, I could go on. But um, I was really curious though about the money. The money part was really good. And so I was on the fence. I'm like, do I take it? But at the end of the day, I'd have to come to work every day and be proud of what I'm doing. And if that's not there, then I had to make a decision and go, oh, the money's great, but I can't do this. So yeah, so I had to have that decision making moment for me. And I think a lot of you will be faced with that as you have to ask yourselves, what do you really want to do in life and what can you feel is aligned with your spirit, so to speak, when you go to work every day. And that's why, Ali, I'll say, I think I speak for you too. That's why we love what we do here working with the NSLS. Like, I literally cannot wait to create wonderful opportunities like this for our audience, work with Ali, work with our creative team. Um, it's that job that it's a career, right? It's more than a job. I get up and I want to be a part of it. So anyway, I can go on and on and on about that, but you guys get the idea. Just make sure your job, career choices are aligned with who you are.
Definitely. And as we think about opportunities for ourselves, right? And learning about what a company holds in value, what their mission is, what their why is as an institution, and how that mirrors or reflects our own. One of the best ways to figure that out is through getting an internship with that
Mhm.
company, right? There's so many phenomenal companies out there that have wonderful internship opportunities. Now, I can imagine, since it's that time of year, most of the students out there are looking for internships, whether it's for the summer or for the fall. So I would assume a few of you, at least today, are looking for an internship. Um, Now, the NSLS, aside from offering great leadership development and wonderful conversations like the one Corey and I've had today, we have an opportunity for a paid internship opportunity that allows you to bring things like this not only to yourself, but to your peers, leadership development training, and other resources. So we'd love the opportunity to explore this with you guys. So check out the link that's here on the screen. Make sure to check it out and apply. We are coming up on our deadline for our summer internship, which is June 1st. So please make sure to check it out before then. But as Corey and I have discussed today, an internship, it's a great way to test drive and put to practice all of the things we've talked about: our etiquette, our
Mhm.
preparedness, aligning our own mission, vision, and values with our why and the company's mission, vision, and values. So
Absolutely, absolutely. And
yes.
Ali, if I can add too, a thing about our internship program as well is that, a lot of times internships have a bad stigma of, the people don't really do anything. They just kind of show up and make coffee or whatever. That's not what our internship is about. Ours is aligned with our leadership development, the initiatives for leadership development. And so this is actual putting to work real-time skills as you are developing yourself as a leader in this internship program. So I just wanted to make sure I
Definitely.
clarified that, because there'll be no, coffee making unless you want to go get yourself a cup. That's on you.
Exactly. Exactly. This is a direct experiential internship where you're building skills and leadership, of course, but communication, um, you know, connecting, networking with people, and so many other things.
Mhm.
And once you get in with an organization, right? We've talked about how an internship is a great way to explore a company, but more often than not, there's usually full-time opportunities at those companies. So if you happen to fall in love with a company through an internship, usually you can get your foot in the door. So it's not just giving you skills that are needed now and letting you explore, but also setting yourself up for the future, which is
Yep,
super important.
absolutely. Agreed.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here today. Corey, as we wrap up here,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
is there any
I'm wondering if there's
questions?
any questions, or anyone have if anyone has any questions they'd like to ask us, or any comments about what they've heard today. We are here, and we will make our best effort to answer them. Feel free to drop those questions or comments in the chat as well, and we will be happy to answer those questions for you. So just let us know. All right. Well, everyone's awfully quiet out there. But that's okay. Listen, you can always reach out to us if you have any questions or comments later at a later time. You can reach out to us at the NSLS, and there's always someone who can get back to you regarding our internship program. As Ali mentioned, there is the link that you all can click on for more information to check that out.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys for being here today. We really appreciate your time and you making an investment into yourself. We hope to connect with you guys again soon.